inflation in the United States soaring to its highest level in 4 decades.
Today, President Biden responding, saying he's fighting to bring down prices, blaming inflation in large part on what he calls Putin's price hike. But prices surged last month almost entirely before Russia invaded Ukraine.
So for almost a year now, President Biden has stuck his head in the sand and ignored the problem. Inflation is out of control, costing Florida families over $600 more every single month.
Our experts believe, and the data shows, that most of the price increases we've seen were expected and are expected to be temporary.
Is there a risk of inflation? I think there's a small risk, and I think it's manageable.
Well, he's changed his tune in recent weeks. With inflation rates hovering near 40-year highs, it's become impossible to ignore even for Joe Biden.
I think I was wrong then about the path that inflation would take.
I want every American to know that I'm taking inflation very seriously, and it's my top domestic priority.
President Joe Biden says that inflation was his top domestic priority. I would have to agree with him on that point, but this is the most pressing issue facing Americans right now. However, that's where the agreement stops, because Joe Biden does not have a plan to actually fight inflation. His only plan is to blame others and undo any policy that has Donald Trump's name on it. Let's start with energy. People love to talk about farm to table, but the reality is there's no such thing. There's farm to truck to table, or farm to truck to grocery store. There's always a truck in the middle, and that's why gas prices are the principal cause of inflation. So what's the president's plan to address energy? Blame Vladimir Putin.
Can't do much right now. Russia's responsible. Putin's price hike that Americans and our allies are feeling at the pump.
He refuses to admit that his day one war on American energy, including shutting down the Keystone XL pipeline, got us to the point that we are today. He needs to reverse course immediately and allow our country to become energy independent once again. Or let's look at tax policy. President Biden and congressional Democrats have pledged to repeal the historic Tax Cuts and Jobs Act passed by Republicans and President Trump, even though those tax cuts boosted wages, resulted in soaring investment in businesses and job creation, and actually increased corporate tax revenues. But it has President Trump's name on it, so it has to go, according to Democrats.
What I'd be focusing on is eliminating the $1.9 trillion tax cut that he passed.
According to the Nonpartisan Tax Foundation, President Biden's tax hikes would destroy almost 140,000 jobs and cut families' wages at every income level, just like what his inflation is doing to Americans today. The broken supply chain is another major contributor to inflation. President Biden's plan?
We haven't had enough truckers, for example, to deliver the lumber or other goods. That's why we are executing a plan to get more truckers on the job.
That's it. No details about this plan. He made no announcement to repeal the tax on new trucking equipment or eliminate the red tape that keeps truckers sidelined. No announcement that people could use Pell Grants to get their commercial driver's licenses. There are steps that could be taken today, but once again, the president fails to act.
17 Nobel laureates in economics said my plan will ease long-term inflationary pressures. If we make these investments now, with interest rates at historic lows, will generate more growth, higher incomes, a stronger economy. The number one threat is the strength, and that strength that we built is inflation.
The fact is that President Biden's runaway federal spending has contributed to inflation. But instead of admitting that he made a mistake and going back to the pro-growth policies that worked under President Trump, he just keeps lying to the American people every time he steps in front of a camera.
You might remember some of the predictions that if I became president, we'd, quote, see a depression, the likes of which we've never seen, end of quote.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please click like and subscribe. I will be back on YouTube with more exclusive content, so stay tuned.